As we approach 15 hours of 5-minute devotionals presenting the evidence for God, we're including answers to some of the questions sent to us by viewers and listeners. And this requires us to revisit some of our past topics and titles. But this next question is more general. After reading an exchange on social media some weeks ago, a fellow believer in Christ, who is obviously a fellow believer in biblical creationism, wrote me and asked an important question for us to consider, and I'll paraphrase the question. Why do so many of the evolutionists seem to have a God complex, even as they fight against the God of the Bible so zealously? How do you explain their closed-mindedness and hostility? Well, that's a twofold question, but the answer is basically, first of all, I have to say it's an astute observation that they have a God complex. That really is true. There are even some in the New Age and occult among the Darwinian evolutionists who actually say it out loud. I am my own God. They'll say it. But most would just protest against that accusation. They'd say, no, I'm just saying that there is no God. And to be fair, that's what most of them do say. But again, those are just words. In practical terms, they have done nothing different than Lucifer, as described in Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14:12 says, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And then we read the 5 I will statements of Lucifer. And notice the last one, where Lucifer, like the Darwinian evolutionist, doesn't say, I am God. Isaiah 14:13 and 14 says, For thou, talking about Lucifer, hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. And this is the one. I will be like the Most High. That's number 5. And that's exactly what the Darwinian evolutionist believes in practical terms. Notice even Lucifer says he said this in his heart. He doesn't say it out loud at the time. They've set themselves on a throne of their own making, like the Most High. And that's why they're so arrogant and condescending when talking to people. Like the arrogant philosopher Rebecca Neuberger Goldstein, one of the people I've read, who thinks she's answered the questions of intelligent design. And she's talking about having to even deal with us, intelligent design believers and biblical creationists. Quote, what is this stuff, you ask one another, and how can it still be kicking around given how much we already know? It looks like the kind of relics that archaeologists dig up and dust off, speculating about the beliefs that once had animated them to the best that they can be reconstructed, gone as they are now, those thrashings of proto-rationality and mythico-magical hypothesizing, and mostly forgotten. These people live in their own little cocoon world where they think there's nobody out there really believes in God the way these people claim to. It's, as I said, condescension and arrogance, but it's simply the outgrowth of the exaggerated sense of self with a capital S found in the Darwinian evolutionists. But we're saddened, even as we might be angered by their silly self-deification, because we know that one day the God that they hate will slay them with judgment, and they will take their arrogance and hatred to a lake of fire. The prophet Ezekiel quotes God addressing such arrogance in Ezekiel 28:9. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. There's no place for arrogance to be found in any man or woman. We're all sinners condemned to everlasting punishment. And the only difference between me and these lost souls like Rebecca, I've repented and trusted in Jesus Christ. And I pray she repents and receives her Jewish Messiah before it's too late.